It's time! What if we turned into rockets?
No big deal. Som's already a rocket.
Oh, If we turned into rockets, we will start reaching the office super early. Airplane pilots may soon get a lot of competition. Our roofs may start getting dotted with a lot of holes. Some people may not be able to control the speed of their rockets. They may end up in outer space. Cars will be of no use anymore. We may start seeing heaps and heaps of dumped cars everywhere. Some people may not be able to balance themselves. Accidents might happen quite often. Instead of cars, people may start lining up at gas stations. Marathon runners will not be happy about this situation. Instead of going to nearby places for a picnic, families may start visiting different planets for the same. Some people may start dressing up as rockets. People who just bought a fancy new car will be sorely disappointed. Basketball champions will not be happy about this situation. Online ordering will now take place in a jiffy. Instead of launching satellites on huge rockets, humans may directly place the satellites in orbit. If our fuel runs out in between, then things may not end well for us. Even our pets may order custom rockets and join us. Our engines may not fire up during rainy season. It may get almost impossible to hide cookies from kids now. People who love to travel may come back after a long time. Rocket fuel is extremely expensive. We may not have much cash left. Traffic cops will definitely look for a new profession. Much use anymore. Thieves will now be able to easily escape from cops. Even aliens may try to become like us. What if our homes turned into rockets?
No big deal. Some is already a rocket.
But any spiders, these pests will eat away our crops. Humanity will probably face a famine-like situation. Fourthly, spider's venom as well as spider's web are believed to have a number of medicinal properties. With no spiders, medical fraternity will definitely suffer a big loss. Fifthly, Spider-Man will probably lose his superpowers. Superheroes will be in for a shock. Lastly, with no more spiders, directors of scary Hollywood movies may run out of new ideas to scare people. What if there were no schools?
Then I will start my Some online classes.
Wow, Firstly, with no schools, kids will be at home all day. Parents will probably have no idea what to do with them. Secondly, with no schools, movie theaters and theme parks will be crowded all day long. Thirdly, with no schools, online learning will become extremely popular. Fourthly, with no schools, parents will start teaching their kids. Teachers will have to look for new jobs. Fifthly, with no schools, kids will probably have no future career plans. Career counselors will have a tough task in front of them. Lastly, With no schools, there will be no grades or report cards. Employers will have to recruit people based on their practical skills. On the flip side, with no schools, outdoor games will become more popular. Kids will probably become more physically healthy. What if there was no electricity?
Then I will electrify everything using my electric dance.
Oh, some. Firstly, no TVs, mobiles, ACs, refrigerators. Life as we know it will be turned upside down. Secondly, the world has grown closer due to electronic communication such as emails, voice calls, messengers, etc. With no electricity, communication with far-off people will become a far-off dream. Thirdly, with no electricity, nights will become dark again. The good old candle might make a comeback. Fourthly, with no electricity, all modern cars will be rendered useless. Steam engines might make a comeback. People will start riding horses again. Lastly, with no electricity, computers will stop operating. World will go back to the good old ways of using books to keep records. On the flip side, with no electricity, pollution levels all around the world will reduce drastically.
Brawl Stars and Godzilla are teaming up for a monstrous event.
If you and your club follow...
What if all bats disappeared?
Then I will wear my special bat costume and surprise everybody.
Oh, some. Firstly, bats consume millions of insects. These insects are known to damage crops as well as spread diseases in human beings. Secondly, bats are important pollinators of fruits such as mangoes, papayas, and bananas. With no bats around, fruit lovers would face tough times. Thirdly, a research suggests that bats maintain more than 50% of the world's old rainforest. With no bats, time to say goodbye to world's forest cover. Fourthly, bats are important pollinators of cacti. Cacti play a crucial role in supporting life in deserts. With no bats, deserts will be a much tougher place to survive in. Lastly, with all bats disappearing, producers of Batman movies will find it difficult to find a new name as well as a new mascot. What if there were no farmers?
Don't worry. I will start farming and grow pizzas for everybody.
What? Oh, some. Firstly, if there were no farmers, there will be extreme shortage of food. World will probably face a famine-like situation. Secondly, more than 60% of world's population is dependent on agriculture for its survival. If there were no farmers, unemployment figures would jump up all around the world. Thirdly, meat industry is heavily reliant on animal fodder for its survival. If there were no farmers, meat industry will face a severe decline. Lastly, more than 12% of global land area is currently being used for cultivation. If there were no farmers, forests will probably grow in their place. On the flip side, with extreme food scarcity, people will probably stop wasting food. They will even try to grow essential crops and fruits in their own backyard. What if we stop washing our hair?
I never wash my hair. They are naturally beautiful.
Oh, some. Firstly, as we won't be washing away the oil produced naturally by our oil plants, dry hair will be a thing of the past. Secondly, as our hair traps moisture, it leads to the collection of bacteria. No washing might result in foul-smelling hair. Also, a lot of exercising might lead to an early onset of foul-smelling hair. Thirdly, washing of hair leads to wearing out and fading of hair color. So, no washing of hair will be good news for those who have just had their hair colored. Lastly, your scalp skin might not be happy as no washing means huge accumulation of dust and dirt. On the flip side, some experts believe that no washing might actually improve the quality of your hair and make them look incredible. What if there were no sharks?
No need of sharks. I am there to scare everybody.
Oh, so. Firstly, the makers of shark movies will have to search for a new villain. Secondly, sharks have been around for more than 400 million years. With no sharks, the natural food chain in the oceans might just completely collapse. Thirdly, with no sharks around to eat those fishes which eat algae-eating fishes, there will be a drastic decrease in algae-eating fishes. This will lead to an exponential increase in the amount of algae. This algae will cover the coral reefs, not allowing it to photosynthesize. This loss of habitat will lead to mass extinction. Fourthly, sea creatures which depend on sharks' nitrogen-rich poo for nourishment will suffer. On the flip side, surfers as well as people with galleophobia, as in fear of sharks, will be one happy lot. What if there were no holidays?
Don't worry, Umsum will never let this happen.
Wow, Umsum. Firstly, with no holidays, people might get depressed. Psychologists will have a lot of work on their hand. Secondly, with no holidays, people will be working without any break. Their health may suffer. Hospital visits and sick leaves will take a huge jump. Thirdly, families come together on holidays. With no holidays, families might grow apart over a period of time. Fourthly, with no holidays, people might forget how to have fun anymore. Life might become dull and boring. Fifthly, with no holidays, tourism industry all around the world will suffer. Restaurants will close. Jobs will be lost. Lastly, with no holidays, productivity might take a dip as people may not be energetic enough or not in the right state of mind to work productively. What if there were no airplanes?
Then I will launch my Umsum Space Company.
Wow, Umsum. Firstly, the Wright brothers who invented the airplane would not be famous anymore. Secondly, with no airplanes, trains and ships would be extremely popular for long-distance travel. Thirdly, with no airplanes, travel time will increase by a lot. People will rarely travel across countries. Tourism industry will not be lucrative anymore. Fourthly, with no airplanes, worldwide defense industry will look very different. Tanks might make a comeback. Fifthly, with no airplanes, humans will look to the sky, watch the birds and wish that one day even they could fly with them. Also, with no airplanes, people might start watching their favorite places on TV instead of traveling far-off distances to visit them. On the flip side, with no airplanes, pollution levels will go down worldwide. What if there were no books?
Don't worry, I will teach science to everybody.
Wow, Umsum. Firstly, bibliophiles, as in people who love books, will definitely get extremely sad. Secondly, with no books, libraries would no longer exist. People will miss reading books in the quiet atmosphere of a library along with their cup of coffee. Thirdly, before the advent of modern technology, books were used for passing down knowledge from one generation to the next. With no books, the next generation might not turn out to be bright anymore. Lastly, with no books, historical events might be forgotten. Also, science might suffer as new studies may not be shared anymore.